It was New Year's Eve, 2017, and I was heading back home to Ohio, just outside Cleveland, after wrapping up a semester at the University of Rochester. My holidays had been anything but festive. I'd stayed on campus an extra week after the term ended due to some personal matters, which meant spending Christmas pretty much alone. By the time my flight took off, my mood was already sour. Adding insult to injury, I'm a die-hard Cleveland Browns fan. That year, we made NFL history in the worst possible way, finishing the season 0-16. Watching that last game from the airport was a special kind of misery. To top it off, my flight got delayed, completely derailing my family's New Year's plans. Instead of driving to my cousin's party together, my parents had to leave early, taking our main car. I was left to drive the spare car by myself. At least my mom tried to soften the blow by leaving Vera, our golden retriever, behind to keep me company. By the time my Uber dropped me off at home, it was almost 10 p.m. I didn't bother unpacking. I tossed my bags into the spare car, leashed Vera, locked up the house, and set off into the frigid Ohio night. The drive was uneventful at first, just the usual winding back roads cutting through empty fields and patches of forest. There was only a light dusting of snow, thankfully, and the pitch darkness was broken only by my headlights and the occasional farmhouse porch light in the distance. Halfway through the trip, Vera started whining. At first, I thought she just wanted attention, but then she started pacing anxiously in the passenger seat. That's when I realized she needed a bathroom break. Sighing, I pulled it to a small clearing just big enough for the car. The cold hit me as soon as I stepped out, but Vera didn't seem to mind. I let her off leash to do her business near the edge of the woods. That's when I heard it, a loud crashing sound deep in the forest. It wasn't a simple branch snapping. It sounded heavy, deliberate, like something large moving through the trees. My heart skipped a beat. Before I could process what was happening, Vera bolted straight into the woods. Panic set in as I called out for her, my voice echoing uselessly into the darkness. She didn't come back. Without thinking, I grabbed my phone and ran after her, using the dim flashlight to navigate the snow-covered ground. The deeper I went, the more oppressive the darkness became, and the cold made it hard to breathe. Just as I was about to give up, I spotted her. She was crouched low, tail tucked, trembling like I'd never seen before. Relief washed over me as I pulled her into a hug. But her fear jolted me back to reality. Something was still out there. We started back toward the car, but I wasn't sure if we were going the right way. Then I heard it again, the crashing sound, but this time it was behind us and getting closer. Adrenaline took over as I ran, following Vera as she darted ahead. When we finally reached the car, I threw her inside, slammed the door shut, and jumped into the driver's seat. That's when I saw them. 3 figures standing at the edge of the woods, watching us that I didn't stick around to find out what they wanted. I started the car and floored it, my hands shaking on the wheel. A few miles down the road, I realized Vera was bleeding. Someone or something had cut her. I managed to stop and bandage her wound, using the first aid kit my mom always insisted on keeping in the car. By the time I reached my cousin's house, I was too shaken to talk about what had happened. I didn't even tell my family. To this day, I think about that night, especially around New Year's. It left me with a haunting question. What was out there in the woods, and why were they watching us? But I know this. Something about that man's face still haunts me to this day. It wasn't just the smirk when the trap was sprung. It was the way he looked at us, almost like he knew us. Like he was enjoying something personal, something deeper than a simple robbery. I can't shake the feeling that we were meant to be there that night, that we weren't random victims at all. Since that New Year's Eve, I've avoided going back to the lake, even though Nate and Trevor have suggested it a couple of times. The thought of setting foot on that ice, hearing the crunch of snow under my boots, sends a shiver down my spine that has nothing to do with the cold. I even avoid driving anywhere near that area. But the worst part is the dreams. I keep seeing that same man standing on the trail, staring at us. In my dreams, his face is clearer, too clear. His smirk twists into something unnatural, something that feels more like a predator toying with prey. And then I wake up, drenched in sweat, my heart racing. Trevor and Nate seem to have moved on, but I can tell it's changed them too. Trevor doesn't laugh as much as he used to, and Nate has become even more protective, almost paranoid. He double-checks locks, keeps his truck stocked with emergency supplies, and always carries a knife. It's like we all left a piece of ourselves on that lake shore, something we'll never get back. I've tried to make sense of it all, to piece together a reason, but I keep coming up empty. Every now and then, I'll catch myself scrolling through local news stories, hoping for a break in the case or some sign that the people who did this were caught. But nothing ever comes up. It's like they vanished just as quickly as they appeared. I don't know if I'll ever truly understand what happened that night, but I've realized that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. Sometimes, the only thing you can do is survive and move forward, even if the shadows of the past follow close behind. And if there's one lesson I've learned, it's this. No matter how peaceful a place may seem, danger can hide in the most unexpected corners, especially in the stillness of a frozen lake, where even the ice can't keep secrets forever. If you're enjoying these terrifying tales, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a creepy story. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Also, let me know in the comments which stories scared you the most, or share your own chilling experiences. I'd love to hear them.